Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to TCG University. It's me, Noah, here doing another deck profile for our Hero Power Ranking Campus Championship. I was playing Kamui Woods for this one. Kamui Woods is a 7-hander, 20 health that says response after an attack is blocked, ready this character, playable while committed, and then enhanced commit. For the rest of this turn, your attacks get +1 damage and your rival's attacks get -1 damage. So the goal of the deck was to force them to block my attacks so I can hit them with a really big one and block theirs so I can eat nothing, hopefully. So we're going to move along. We played, for the attacks, 2 copies of Cheerful Uppercut. It is the only non-ranged attack in this deck, so it does not combo with a card you will see later. The ability to give it +4 damage is sick. The ability that it can disrupt combo decks with its block is really good. Generally, that is the reason we played it. It's a disruptor. 4 copies of Cinder Convection. I've never played this card until now, and I think this card's kind of cool. If it's not blocked, both players lose 2 health, so your opponent kind of wants to block it to not burn, which will trigger Kamui. It has Power 3 and Stun 1, and then you can discard a Momentum to give +1 to all of its keyword ratings, meaning it can technically have Powerful 4 and Stun 2, and it's a 1 high block, which is kind of cool. We're playing range attacks, so we play 3 copies of Amphibious Ambush, so we can stuff cards in their card pool, so it's harder for them to block things, and if they do, my attacks get damage on the process, and we can clear our card pool a lot easier. 4 copies of Sticky Balls. Literally everything we played in the attack lineup just about is made to force my opponent to block, like Sticky Balls, or we put something in card pool, so it's just harder for them to block, so things will hit easier. And we played 4 copies of Rapid Tape Strike. This one says, I can't use this Air Enhance, but we can use the bottom one, which is Commit to Foundation. If it's not blocked, my rival discards a card nobody really wants to discard, and if they think they're going to discard anyways, they might as well block the attack, and giving Kamui the ability to again add damage. It also has Stun 1, which is nice. And then last, we played 2 copies of Ice Storm. It's a Breaker 2, 2 mid blocks, super sick, Powerful 3. That's actually not terrible. That says it can't be blocked by attack cards, which I should have used more against Fourth Kind, which I think this deck lost to, but got pretty close in my opinion. And then the Deadlock enhances it gets 2 speed, and its speed can't be reduced, which is super sick. Moving on to the foundations, we played 2 copies of Defrosting for either speed or damage on any attack that we needed. So we can either block something and make it easier, push something, or we can just tank damage and make it a little bit weaker to tank. Words are hard. 2 copies of Rescue completed. Speed hate's very important. We're playing underwater with this deck, so I figured there's no reason not to play this card. Because we're playing underwater and we share symbols, obviously it's nice to have classmate introductions for that extra speed or damage with my attacks. We are squishy, so we're going to end up playing 3 copies of Wall Cling, just so we can completely block cards. 2 copies of Irrefutable Force of Nature, because disrupting your opponent and telling them they can't use key foundations that could probably kill you in the end are really nice, or even ones that could stop your turn. 3 copies of Fate's Shield, because again we're squishy and anything that says hey don't take this damage is really nice. 3 copies of Graceful Maneuvers, wow, words. Speed hate, and that's generally what it is, and it's really good speed hate that essentially gets rid of progressives to some degree. 2 copies of Maul Day, so we can pick up attacks again. We are a 7-hander, but the ability to pick up attacks is always nice. We played 3 copies of First Villain Encounter, so our ranged attacks gain 1 speed, 1 damage, and -1 difficulty on the next one. Everything except for Cheerful. Again, we're playing underwater, and I think water has some of the best speed hate in the game, if not the best speed hate in the game. Ice Gliding is there for that, or to push attacks as well, which I've used it for before. We played 4 copies of Observant Student. It's got a really good block mod. It lets me look at the top card of my deck, but the most important part is sometimes when that Deadlock enhance can be really helpful when I need to draw attacks. This card's super important. Struggling with Studies, 3 copies of it. I could probably bump that up to a 4 and minus something else somewhere. If this is my rival's 3rd or greater attack, I can add a card from my card pool to my hand, which is super sick, so we get to pick up a block again and reuse it if need be, or pick up an attack that we can hold for later. Response before running your foundations would be flipped due to a rival's effect. Flip this one instead if they have target flips. We played 3 copies of Tape, so we can give minus speed to something or make it easier to block by turning it into a mid, since those are the most readily available block mods. 4 copies of Desperate Times, because spam is nice, and this spam says that they commit a foundation if they draw. 4 copies of Gotcha, because spam is nice, and this spam says that if it's committed during the enhanced step, give a speed or nega speed on an attack, and with Rescue completed, it's -3 speed or +2 speed, which is super cool. And last, we played 4 copies of Surviving the Final. It's just generic speed hate that just says once per turn, -1 speed on an attack. So it's nothing much there. I really like the Kamui deck. All the decks I build I really like, so it's going to stay the same, generally speaking. I think Kamui was cool, and I wanted to play him in a way where you don't just stall the game out. The goal is to force them to put cards in their card pool so you can hit them with really hard attacks. Or you can sneak something through and just keep poking them out instead of just sitting there playing an ultra defensive game until somebody mills out or whatever it is. Otherwise, that is the deck. Hope you guys liked it. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out the other content that we have on the channel as always. And I still don't have a catchphrase yet, so we're going to steal one from James. Stay alert.